Good evening, students. How are you all? Okay. See, today we'll start the continuation of the nutrition in the animals, students. Already earlier I gave 2 lectures basing on this topic, and today is the third lecture of the nutrition in animals, students. See, students, nutrition is one of the basic life process followed by all of the organisms which are living on the earth. Nutrition means the process of intake of the food and utilization of the food by the organism for its growth and development. That is the clear-cut definition of the nutrition, students. Generally, basing on the mode of nutrition, nutrition is of 2 types, students. Autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic means where organisms can prepare their own food material. Mostly all the green plants will follow this autotrophic nutrition. See, in this process, they'll perform the process of photosynthesis simply by taking the ingredients such as carbon dioxide, water in the presence of sunlight. With the help of chlorophyll pigment, our leaf can synthesize the food material such as the carbohydrates. That is about the autotrophic nutrition. Mostly all the green plants and some bacteria, photosynthetic bacteria, will follow autotrophic nutrition, students. Now, second variety, that is heterotrophic nutrition. The word hetero means others. Here, organisms gets the food material from the other organisms like plants and animals. For example, human being is there. So, can we synthesize our own food material, students? No, we cannot synthesize our own food material. Simply, we are collecting the food from the other plants and animals. Okay, fruits are there from the plants, vegetables, nuts, all these we are collecting from the plants. And like egg, milk and all, simply we used to collect from the animal resources. See, under the heterotrophic nutrition, we have seen a number of different types of nutrition such as saprotrophs, scavengers, parasitism and holozoic nutrition. Mostly all the higher animals used to follow holozoic nutrition. Means here animal or organism used to consume the food material with the help of mouth, then it digests well, then it will be absorbed by the body and utilized by the body for all its needs. That is nothing but the holozoic nutrition, students. This holozoic nutrition involves many steps. First one is ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. Ingestion means the process of taking the food into the mouth is called ingestion. Next, digestion means, see students, generally why to eat the food material? Just to get the energy. Only with that energy only we can do our routines regularly. So, just in order to get the energy, we are taking the food, right? First of all, after having the food into the mouth, it should be digested well. So, what do you mean by actual digestion process? Digestion means it converts the complex food substances into 2 very simple substances. That form of substances only utilized by our body cells for its activities. Okay, so that process is nothing but the digestion. Next, come to the case of absorption. Digested food is simply absorbed by the body cells in the form along with the blood vessels. And assimilation, utilization of the nutrients by the body for its all activities is called assimilation. And the final step is digestion. See, undigested food, leftover food, these food materials not at all required by the organism for anything. Okay, that is the reason that food has to be sent out of the body. That process is called digestion, students. Next, see, there are n number of animals are there which are following holozoic nutrition, but as per our syllabus, they are giving only digestion in the human beings, digestion in the amoeba, and digestion in the ruminants. Before class, I explained you well about the digestion in the amoeba and digestion in the human. And today, I would like to highlight about the digestion in the ruminants. So, once again, I would like to give a clear-cut glance summary about the digestion in the amoeba as well as the digestion in the human beings. First, let us talk about the digestion in the amoeba. Students, you all know that amoeba is the unicellular organism, belongs to the category called protozoa. See, amoeba is a unicellular organism, students. Unicellular means here amoeba body is having only single cell and it belongs to the protozoa. Protozoa, it is one of the variety of the microorganisms. Simply, our amoeba used to live in the water. It is aquatic organism. See the shape of the amoeba. Our amoeba is not having the particular shape, students. It is generally, it is a cell, single unicellular organism lined by the plasma membrane, and it is filled with a jelly-like substance that is called cytoplasm. At the center it is having the nucleus, and along with that it is also having the vacuole. And outside, see, the outward projections are nothing but the pseudopodia. These are the finger-like projections which will come out of the amoeba. Simply, they helps in the process of locomotion. Locomotion means the movement of the body from one place to other place is nothing but a locomotion. Here, our amoeba can move with the help of pseudopodia. And come to the case of nutrition. Simply, our amoeba used to take up small plant materials and small animals, some bacteria. Okay, these are the food materials for our amoeba here. See how it will take. Is it having any mouth? No. So it is not having any mouth like esophagus. Nothing is there in our amoeba's body. As it is unicellular organism, first our amoeba is going to take in the food material into the body. How? See, we have the pseudopodia on outside of the amoeba, right? So this pseudopodia is going to take the food material into the body by the process of phagocytosis. See, in the phagocytosis, what will happen? Actually, our digestion in the case of amoeba is intracellular digestion. Digestion is happening in the cell. It is within the cell. That is the reason the digestion process is called as intracellular digestion. Okay, here what is happening here? This is the amoeba. So the red one is nothing but the food particle. Okay, see, as soon as our amoeba detecting the prey nearby its surroundings, so immediately it go and approach towards the prey. Then what will happen is slowly so extends its pseudopodia and encircles the food particle. Then slowly it is engulfing the food into its body. In the next case, what will happen? A vacuole is there. It is going to mix up with the food and forms food vacuole here and forms food vacuole. And in the next step, what is happening here? This food vacuole again have the association with the lysosome. Now, in this association, what is happening, students? Lysosome is the one of the secretory cell organelle in the cell. This lysosome secretes some enzymes, secretory enzymes. So, these are nothing but amylase, lipase and proteases. Now, these enzymes will digest the food into simple things or simple substances. This will digest the food into simple substances. Now the process of digestion is completed. Then what will happen? So undigested food should be sent out of the body, I said in the beginning of the class. So by means of egestion. See, immediately our amoeba is going to send out the undigested food to outer surface. That process is called assimilation. Then whatever the food is digested well, so our amoeba body will get the nutrients, and that nutrients will be utilized by the amoeba for all its needs. This utilization of the nutrients or digested food is nothing but the assimilation. Right, students? This is about the intracellular digestion in the case of amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism. Next, we'll go to the digestive system of human. Okay, how the human is going to take the food material, in what way it is going to be processed in the human body. Let us discuss now. Generally, we are the human beings, right? So we are multicellular organism. So our body is well organized. Okay, so we are having different systems for different things. Okay, digestive system only for it takes about the nutrition, digestion and processing and all. Along with that, we have the circulatory system. So heart, blood vessels, veins, they will be taking care of the circulation, and excretory system. So excretion of the waste materials. This is mainly coordinated by the kidneys and the skin. So as we are higher animals, we human beings are higher animals. That means our body is well equipped. So we have different systems and different levels of organization for different things. But in the previous case, amoeba, there only one cell is there. That cell has to take care of all the life processes. But in the case of human being, it is we have different systems for different works, different procedures. Okay, so now today I am going to explain about the digestion in the humans. Okay, see, actually, simply as we are the human being, how will eat, students? Simply with the help of hand, we are going to take the food through the mouth. So our digestion system, it starts with the mouth. Okay, this is the mouth. This is the mouth. And then the second part is esophagus. And the third important part is stomach. Then small intestine. Again, large intestine. Then rectum and anus. So here I want to give the important parts which are present in the alimentary canal of human. Mouth is followed by the esophagus, students. And this esophagus is again followed by the stomach. This stomach again opens into the small intestine. Again, this is next to the large intestine and rectum, and the final one is anus. So, in the humans, digestive system starts with mouth and ends with anus, students. See, these are the main parts which are present in the alimentary canal. So, this is the way. These are the different parts where our food is going to travel in our digestive system. Okay, from the mouth to the esophagus, then to the stomach, then to the small intestine, then it reaches the large intestine. So it is the root in our digestive system. So along all these which I mentioned on the board, they are the parts, students. Mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, anus, rectum, all these are the structural parts. They'll perform the process of digestion, students. Along with this, we have another important things. So we should require the other important things such as salivary glands, liver, pancreas. So what are all these students? These salivary glands, liver and pancreas are the glands. Okay, so these glands will secrete their secretions. They'll helps in the process of digestion. These secretions makes the process so easy. So I will tell you one after the other in what way they are supporting the digestion. Generally, in the mouth, we used to take the food through the mouth. In the mouth, we have three different things. Such as mouth, we have three different things. First one is teeth, students. And second one is tongue. Third important one is salivary glands. Salivary glands. See, in the first of what will happen, whatever the food is taken into the mouth, generally in what forms of the food will take, like rice with dal, chapati, or fruits we are going to consume, or nuts we are going to consume. These are the different types of food we are eating with the mouth. So this form of food directly, if we'll swallow, means our body cannot use the nutrients which are present in the food. So first of all, food should be turned into simple fragments. Actually, that is the main digestion. Here, first what will happen with the help of teeth? So we are breaking the food into simple fragments or small pieces. Okay, we are having a fine sharp teeth in the buccal cavity. That teeth simply helping in the process of breaking down of the food into small fragments. We have different types of teeth, students. 4 types of teeth in the human being. The first variety are incisors, second kind is canines, and the third one is premolars, and the fourth one is molars. We have 4 different types of teeth in our buccal cavity: incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Here, see, this incisor helps in the cutting and tearing of the food, whereas our canines used to help in the tearing of the food, and premolars helps in the proper grinding of the food, and our molars finally it helps in the fine grinding of the food. So altogether, mainly teeth are responsible for the breakdown of the large complex food substances into simple food fragments. And now come to the case of tongue. Tongue is the muscular organ which is present in the buccal cavity. Actually, this tongue helps in the movement of the food. See, so food is going to circulate and it should be pressed under the teeth. So all things can be possible by the movement, or circulatory motions can be created by the tongue. And one more thing is that, so tongue also helps in the process of mixing of the chewed food with the saliva. See, this salivary glands used to secrete the saliva. Saliva is a semi-solid substance secreted by the salivary glands. These are present in our buccal cavity. Again, salivary glands also of 3 types: parotid, submaxillary, and sublingual are different types of the different 3 types of salivary glands we used to have in our mouth, students. Now, come to the case of saliva. See, these are the secretions of salivary glands actually. This saliva consists of important enzyme called salivary amylase. Salivary amylase. And it is also called as thiolin. It is also called as thiolin. See, this thiolin helps in the conversion of the carbohydrates into simple things or such as sugars. Generally, our food consists of few basic nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and some vitamins. Okay, these are the valuable nutrients which are present in the food, and these must be required by the organism's body for its growth and survival. See, all these are the different things which are present in the buccal cavity, helps in the process of conversion of the complex form of food into simple form of the food. So, where it is happening, students? It is happening in the mouth. Next, come to the case of esophagus. Next, come to the case of esophagus. Here, esophagus is a long pipe-like structure. Okay, so we can also call this esophagus is a food pipe, students. And see, chewed food material or partially digested, partly somewhat digested food is going to travel across this pipe and reaches the stomach. This pipe is nothing but the esophagus, are also called as food pipe. Here, this pipe is surrounded by the muscles, circulatory muscles. These muscles, so simply by showing the actions such as contraction and relaxation, so they'll be pushes the food into the downward direction, that is into the stomach. This particular movement is nothing but the peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement. So with this movement, our food, our swallowed food by the individual, it is going to slowly comes down and reaches the stomach. So by the peristaltic movement across the food pipe or esophagus. And between the mouth and esophagus, we have an important part, that is pharynx, and in the pharynx we have the epiglottis. Epiglottis, students. Actually, this epiglottis helps in the, so it here it a very important function it is going to perform here, our students. What is that makes? Actually, the common way at this junction we are having a common point for the air passes and the passes. So our epiglottis, it just obstructs the passage of the food into the windpipe, that is nothing but the trachea. Okay, so we have the nostrils, nasal cavity, then trachea, then it enters into the lungs, that is the airway. Okay, so there is a common junction is there. There is a by chance, there is a chance of, so for entry of the food into the trachea. That is the reason when we are eating the food in hurry way, so sometimes we may get the food particles, rice grains along with the nose. So that is the reason elders always suggest, they'll give the directions that, so while you are eating, we should be calm, we should not talk, and we should not feel any kind of tension. Okay, so just to avoid this kind of problems. Okay, next part is stomach. Actually, here in the mouth, food undergoes some kind of physical and chemical changes. Okay, see now in the esophagus there is no digestion. Okay, simply esophagus passes the food from the buccal cavity to the stomach, only that. Okay, so now we are reaching the stomach. Stomach is a J-shaped muscular bag-like structure. Okay, see, this is the stomach here, students, and J-shaped muscular bag-like structure. Okay, see, and further digestion is going to taking place in the stomach. It is one of the widest part of the alimentary canal, seems to be very somewhat big part of the alimentary canal. Here the walls of the stomach, we have the epithelial cells. These cells secretes HCl and gastric juice. HCl and gastric juice. HCl means, you all know that hydrochloric acid, and this gastric juice consists of some enzymes, gastric enzymes. See, first of all, let us talk about the HCl, students. So, due to the secretion of HCl into the stomach, it creates some acidity in the stomach. So, due to this, we are going to get one advantage, students. If we have any microorganisms in our food, that microorganisms will be killed by the action of HCl. Now, what is the role performed by the gastric juice? Gastric juice consists of enzymes such as amylase and peptidases. Okay, this gastric juices converts the carbohydrates into simple forms such as sugars, whereas peptones converts the proteins into simple forms such as amino acids. See, this is the whole process which is going to taking place in the stomach, and it is outside, it's like a muscular bag-like structure. Whenever the food enters into the stomach, it can increase its volume. Okay, so that is the reason. So it is a muscular bag-like structure. Next, our stomach have the continuation with the small intestine. It's a long tube-like structure. So, after in the whatever, see, in the stomach, so food is somewhat partially digested. So food may convert into semi-solid form. That is nothing but the chyme. Okay, now this chyme is entering into the small intestine. Here, so before going to explain about the small intestine, I would like to say about the liver, gallbladder and the pancreas. Okay, so first let us talk about the pancreas. Pancreas is mixed gland. Pancreas is called as a pancreas is a mixed gland. It acts as a both endocrine and exocrine glands. Generally, general function of the glands is that they are going to secrete the juices. Okay, they are going to secrete the enzymes which helps the process of digestion. This pancreatic juice that helps to the digestion of carbohydrate, proteins and fats. These are the valuable nutrients which are present in the food. Next, I told this pancreatic juice consists of the amylase and the different enzymes. Simply, they'll helps in the process of conversion of the large food substances into small or simple forms of the food. They are nothing but the carbohydrate is one of the nutrient. So by having the plant resources, our body we can get the carbohydrate, students. Okay, here carbohydrate is going to convert into the sugars and the glucose by the action of amylase. Next, proteins. Proteins are going to convert into the amino acids. The simple fragments of the proteins are amino acids. Amino acids combine to form a lengthy chain that is nothing but a protein. Next, fats. These are converting into the glycerol plus fatty acid by the help of lipases. These are the different enzymes which are secreted by the accessory glands. So they will be converting the complex food substances into simple food substances. And one more important part, that is, next come to the case of intestine. Here in the intestine, we are having the special finger-like fine projections called villi. And we can also call these as microvilli. So there are n number of microvilli are present on the walls of the intestine. So what is the main role of this here villi? See, this villi, they'll increase the surface area for absorption. So this presence of this microvilli increases the surface area for absorption, so that more amount of the nutrients or digested food is being absorbed by the blood vessels. These blood vessels have internally connections with the intestine. So the digested food digested food is being absorbed by the blood vessels simply by means of microvilli. So microvilli helps in the process of absorption of the nutrients by the blood vessels. And this absorption is followed by the assimilation. This absorption is followed by the assimilation. And here the process of utilization of the absorbed food such as glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, glycerol is called assimilation. Generally, actually, what is our intention here, students? So digestion makes the or makes the complex food into very, very fine and small food substances. That finally formed food substances are nothing but the nutrients. Okay, they are the biochemical requirements which are necessary by the each and every cell of our living organism for it is regular activities. Okay, so what are those children? Glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol, all these are needed by the organism. Okay, so this process of utilization of the absorbed food such as glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol is called assimilation. Next, assimilation is followed by the next step. I told you in the previous that addition. Addition. See, in the addition is the last terminal step of the digestion here, students. So, undigested food, unwanted food is going to sent out along with the large intestine. In the large intestine, one more thing happening here, children. So, our large intestine, it absorb the water content which is present in the leftover food, so food being carried along with the large intestine, then reaches the rectum and then reaches the anus. Through the anus, it sends out by the body in the form of feces. This is nothing but the excretion or egestion. These are the different steps involved in the digestion. So that's all for today's children. So up to here I explained about the digestion in the amoeba and digestion in the human. And in the next class I am going to explain about the digestion in the ruminants.